Sunday and yellow dome. When on that Sunday the sun shone, and its rays turned all the valleys and mountains into a golden color like gold coins, King Borum took a golden cup like King Jamshid, put a golden crown on his head, wore an amber-colored robe, and set off towards the golden dome to meet the Roman lady. After feasting and drinking, the king, who was moved by the delightful music, said to the Roman princess, "Let her open her ruby-like lips, sprinkle sugar, and make this beautiful day more memorable with a delightful story." The Roman princess, with her charm and grace, praised and prayed for King Borum and began her story as follows. In one of the cities of Iraq, there was a ruler who was very talented and skilled. However, despite all his successes, he was not happy. Because it was foreseen in his fate that it is better not to have a wife, as women would become his enemies. So, to avoid danger and trouble, he lived alone for a long time. But after a while, in order to escape from the boring life, he decided to buy some slave girls. However, none of them served him well, and after about a week of their arrival, they exceeded their limits and considered themselves the mistress of the house, demanding jewelry and treasures. In the king's palace, there was a foolish old woman who was gossiping. Whenever the king bought a maid, she would start gossiping with her, calling her the Queen of Rome and the Princess of the Taraz, and the maid would become proud and think to herself, with all these excellent qualities, why should I be a maid in this palace? She would then start behaving rudely and disrespectfully. It was as if she was a catapult throwing fire to destroy the house. The king tried very hard to find a well-behaved maid, but he was always unsuccessful, and had to sell the maid as soon as possible to get rid of the situation. He repeated this process so many times that he gradually became known as the king of maid sellers. Apparently, every maid who had hope in her would eventually disappoint him. Until he truly became angry and put an end to the situation. One day, a slave trader brought news that 1,000 maidens had come from the land of China. It was said that each of these maidens was as beautiful as a picture. Among them was a maiden who shone like a fairy from the morning star, brighter than pearl, with lips like coral that seemed to pour out sugar when she spoke. The king ordered that the maiden be brought to him. The king saw that the maiden was much more beautiful and attractive than what the slave trader had described. He turned to the slave trader and said, "Tell me about this maiden's character and qualities, so that if I find her to my liking, I may choose her." The slave trader said, "This Rose Honey, with all her excellent qualities, has one flaw, and that is whoever buys her from me will return her to me the next morning without asking for a refund. It seems that no one can get along with her, because she doesn't allow any man to touch her. It's better to reconsider the situation. Maybe other maids are more suitable for you." The king was torn about what to do. On one hand, he couldn't take his eyes off of her beauty, but on the other hand, he thought to himself, what if I can't get along with this maid like others? In short, in the end, love defeated reason, and he bought the silver dome with silver coins. That maiden was like a flower, who despite having a sharp tongue, was beautiful and charming. Although she appeared to be sharp-tongued, she had a loving heart for the king and would do whatever it took to organize the affairs of the house. Although the king wanted her to have a position like the nobles in the house, the maiden preferred to remain humble like a shadow under the king's feet. The old humpbacked woman wanted to set a trap and persuade the maiden to disobey the king. But the maiden, with wisdom, understood the humpbacked woman's intentions and shouted at her, engaging in an argument with the old woman. After that, the king's affection for that maiden increased 100-fold. So much so that it seemed as if that king had become the servant of the maiden, but the king remained modest and did not request intimacy from the maid. Until one night, an opportunity arose for the fire of love between the king and the maid to burn brighter. You could say that the maid is like a fortress with high walls, surrounded by a moat full of water, preventing the enemy from infiltrating. On the other hand, the king's love is like a fiery catapult, wanting to enter the land of love by any means possible. The king gently and smoothly said to the maiden, "O you who are as sweet as a ripe date, O you whose stature is taller than a cypress tree, O you whose face is more beautiful than the image of the moon in the pond, I ask you to give me the right answer to my question. Then, for flirting with the maiden, he added, Prophet Solomon and Queen Bilqis lived happily together and had a son. One day, Bilqis said to Solomon, O Prophet of God, even though you and I are in perfect health, why is our son so sick and disabled, with no hands or feet? If you know the cause of his pain and illness, maybe we can find a remedy and treatment for it. When Gabriel came from God to deliver the message of the Lord to you, ask him to bring you the secret of curing this illness from the preserved tablet on behalf of the Lord, so that this child may hope for health and recovery. Solomon was pleased with the words of Bilqis and waited for a few days. When Gabriel spoke to him, he expressed his desire to him. Gabriel then brought a message from the Creator of the blue sky, saying, The Lord sends greetings to you and says that the cure for this illness is two things. When you and your wife sit together, you must speak the truth to each other. Bilqis was happy to hear this news and said, Ask whatever you want, and I will answer as God has promised, so that the Lord may fulfill his promise. Solomon said, If that is the case, tell me, have you ever desired anyone other than me? Bilqis said, May the evil eye be far from you, for you are brighter than light itself. Besides your youth, you possess other excellent qualities. You are kind-hearted and pleasant-faced, and you love me very much. Your gathering is like living in paradise. Your realm of rule, both apparent and hidden, your mission from the Lord has ensured your safety in the world. Despite all your goodness and youth, you are both a king and a prophet. However, with all these qualities, if I see a youth better than you, I may not be safe from bad desires. As soon as this confession came out of Bilqis's mouth, two hands appeared on the child's body. You say that two flowers have bloomed in the garden. Now it was Bilqis's turn to ask Solomon, and she said, O chief of demons and fairies, O artist and wise man, tell the truth for the sake of this child. Just as my true word made him the owner of two hands, may your true word make him the owner of 2 feet. I have a question for you. With all this treasure and wealth, have you ever felt greed and the need for others' possessions? Prophet Solomon replied, What others do not possess, I do. I have governance, land, riches, and treasures. With such vast blessings, whenever someone comes to congratulate me, I secretly look towards their hands to see what gift they have brought for me. As soon as Solomon spoke these words of truth, the child stood up and rose from the ground. Truthfulness before God caused the pain and suffering of the child's hands and feet to disappear. The story has reached this point. The king said, It is better for us to be honest with each other. Tell me why you have no interest in any man. I suffer in your love, and I always look at you from afar. You, who are so beautiful, why are you not kind to me? It is better for the maid to tell the truth. So she replied, In our family, there is an inherited trait that has always been tested. Whenever a woman in our family falls in love with a man, after giving birth, she dies herself. So how can I fall in love with a man, when the price of this love is death? My life is very precious to me, and I cannot risk it. I was honest with you and revealed the truth, and did not hide anything. Now you can sell me or let me live with you in this house. Now I also have a question for the king, and I hope you don't hide anything from me. My question is why the king gets tired of all those beautiful concubines so quickly, and doesn't get along with any of them for a month. At first, he respected them, and then he threw them out of this house in disgrace. The king said, Because all those concubines were thinking only of themselves. They entered this house with good morals at first, but later showed their bad intentions. When they gathered a little wealth here, they forgot their desire to serve me. It seems that a human should have a stomach of iron, so that they don't have a stomach ache after eating comfortably. Apparently, eating delicious food does not make humans happy, and people have become accustomed to appreciating food that is hard to come by and does not deserve an easy life. When women see a well-behaved man, they try to take advantage of him. A woman is like a grape that is unripe and green when it is not yet ripe and turns black when it ripens. Even though I am unsuccessful with you, I can't bear to be without you even for a moment. He said this truth and didn't add anything else, and preferred to be patient in his love for the maid. Unripe and green, when it is not yet ripe, and turn black when it ripens. Even though I am unsuccessful with you, I can't bear to be without you even for a moment. He said this truth and didn't add anything else, and preferred to be patient in his love for the maid. However, the cunning old woman who was knowledgeable of the king's secret regarding the maid came up with a plan for revenge against that maid. She told the king, "If you want to make the maid fall in love with you, you must use a trick. The weakness of every woman is jealousy. Buy another maid and play love games with her. After a while, this arrogant maid will soften like wax in your hands. You can control any stubborn horse by showing a harnessed pony." The king liked the old woman's words, and although he was always in love with his beloved, he would engage in love games with another maid every evening. The handmaiden was burning with love for the king and never hesitated to serve him in any way, never speaking ill of him behind his back. What could she do but endure? But patience has no benefit in the path of love. Until one day, her patience ran out and she said, "O just king, tell me the truth. What is the secret that you treat me so kindly in the morning, but ignore me at night? It seems like you give me honey in the morning and sell me vinegar at night. If you reveal the secret of your behavior to me, I swear by God that I will also give you the key to my treasure." The king, feeling that he could trust the maid's confidence, revealed the secret of his heart and said, "Your love has consumed my soul, and I have lost my patience gradually and started to feel helpless. Until this old hunchback woman told me, the cure for your illness lies in the pain of this maid. It was your fire that was burning my heart, but it was the hunchbacked old woman who added more fuel to it. Now that you have revealed what was in your heart, I no longer see the need to have another lover and continue the old woman's deceit." The loving maid, seeing the king's kindness, fell in love with him. The butterfly settled on the orange blossom, the blossom bloomed and turned into a flower. The butterfly drank the nectar of the flower and became intoxicated. That fiery love healed the maiden's condition, like a candle that, when burned, its yellow flame turns into brightness. Love worked its miracle, and the maiden gave birth to the king's son. When the story reached here, King Borum liked the tale, and that night he slept peacefully beside the Princess of Rome.